Hey everybody, so once again I feel like every time I do a video where I say I'm gonna go a certain direction, I always seem to go another direction. So in my last video I was kind of talking about stopping carnivore, maybe getting more carbs in. Well, then I ended up doing carnivore for like 9 days strict, and then I ended up kind of overworking. I was in the sun. I did like a couple hour walk. I went to the gym, and then I did a sauna, and I forgot to drink water all day. And I'm guessing heat exhaustion, which was not super enjoyable. And the next day it got worse, and I called off to work for like the second time in a year and a half because I was just beat. And I was still doing carnivore for those like first 2 days, and I finally just decided I needed to get some electrolytes and I needed to feel good. So I had some rice and I had like electrolyte sugar mix, like not like Gatorade, but with more of the electrolytes and way less sugar. I just find that my body has a much easier time absorbing electrolytes when I have sugar. And so I got off of it to do that, and then I got back about 5 days later. I got back on carnivore again. And this has always been my goal in the first place, to be a lot more metabolically free. And I find that it's been nice to give my body a break. I'm finding that I'm doing a lot better with carbs now that I've been doing carnivore on and off. And so it's just like, seems like I'll go really strict and I'll be that way. I'll get back into ketosis and I'll feel good. And then maybe something like that happens and then I'll add back in carbs. And I've been trying to make it so that it's not as big of a deal. I noticed that when I'm doing carbs, it's a lot easier for me to like fast all day. And when I'm doing strict carnivore, I have to eat multiple times a day, even just for the weight loss. I think when I did carbs this last time, I kind of went a little bit overboard, but I probably gained like 5 pounds. And then, although, you know, when you introduce carbs, you do incorporate a lot more water. And then when you go into carnivore, you drop a lot of water weight. But very quickly getting back into carnivore again, it was just like lost a lot of weight. So when I first started doing this, at the very beginning, I was on like the second hole in my belt buckle. And then like a month or two after that, I got to the third, and then a couple months after that to the fourth, and I've stayed at the fourth. And just today I noticed like the fourth wasn't working anymore and I had to move over to the fifth. So it's kind of interesting because I haven't been perfect during any of this. I've just been trying to be better. I've just been introducing more meat. And then my next goal is to just make better decisions when I'm not in strict carnivore. So as I've said before, I do really well with rice instead of kind of doing more sugary type things when I'm not doing more low carb type things and rice. So that's kind of my next goal, but I plan to kind of keep going back and forth. I find that my body is a lot less inflamed when I'm on carnivore, but each time that I kind of reintroduce carbs for one reason or another, it gets easier, and it's like my body processes them better and can use them for energy. One of the things I found with carnivore, even when as I've said before, I've had a hard time getting enough fat. And so this most recent time that I've been doing it, between the price, getting on a budget, and getting enough fat, I've struggled with. So I started doing chuck steaks and chuck roasts. And just been going to like Albertsons and going during the morning when they have discounts. And I'll look at Walmart, I'll look wherever I can to get discount meat just in the morning, whatever percent they have off. And I've been finding it for like well under $5 a pound, or well at about $5 a pound. And then I also got a sous vide machine for the chuck steaks, since they are like a little bit rougher. And I did 2 steaks that way and really enjoyed it. So it was pretty awesome to be able to eat essentially not quite a ribeye. Like it was clearly different than a ribeye, but we still both, my wife and I, still really enjoyed it. And it was really easy just to put in the sous vide machine in a bag. The first time I let it cook for like 10 hours, and the second time I let it cook for like 16 hours at 130 degrees. And then I just seared it in my cast iron, and it was delicious. It worked perfect. I used the leftover liquid in the bag, put a little bit of tapioca starch in it, heated it up, and with some seasoning, it turned it into a gravy, and had that over the steak, and that was really good. So I've just been working on ways like that. And then since we're on a budget, trying to keep the expenses lower when I do phase in to eating carbs, I'm just adding in rice. Again, I feel good with rice, and it's extremely cheap. One of the things I might attempt to do if I am doing carbs is to go back to intermittent fasting and just eat once at night and have a larger meal. Or I might have a meal earlier in the day that's like more fatty, meaty, and then a second meal that has more carbs later in the day and maybe has less fat. So still experimenting, still trying to figure out what I feel best with. I find that the leaner I get, the better I feel having things like carbs. And my main goal with everything has always been energy. So when I got heat exhaustion, I just wasn't getting better, and I could tell that I needed just a boost. As soon as I added those carbs in, it was obvious. I felt so much better, and so I'm not going to stop myself from going back in to feel better. But what I don't want to do is be having all of these foods that don't make me feel good, just to get carbs. So. And I will say that the biggest change that I've made throughout all of this, and I think that for everyone this is good, is that for me, the main thing that I've found that I can't have is dairy. And my life, whether I'm eating dairy-free ice cream and cookies and all of that, is 10 times better just cutting out the dairy. If that was the only thing that I could do and I still had to have then I would just do that one thing, because even if I'm eating like ultra processed, just carby foods, I would rather eat those than have a ketogenic lifestyle, but I had to have dairy, because it just doesn't agree with me in every possible way. And it took me a really long time to figure that out. The second thing would be really any vegetable oils. That always makes me feel extremely lethargic, low energy, and makes my stomach hurt. And then I start to get into things like gluten, things I'm just more sensitive to, that I kind of notice, like if I eat them more frequently for a few days, that they don't make me feel as good. And I'm far less concerned about those things in the short term. So going out to eat, I'm fine if I have a bun, but I'm not fine if there's butter on the bun. So anyway, that's what's working for me right now. I said it's kind of funny because I said I'm not going to do another carnivore video, but my sister also gave me some good advice, which is, whatever content that you feel that you can actually film and post is the content you should do. And right now, this is kind of what's going on in my life, is I'm experimenting with my diet, and in a few months that could change and I'll be talking about something else. So I'm going to continue talking about the things that I'm interested in, the things that are going on in my life. Thank you for following along, and we'll see you next time.